Now, what we need is that direction, because we all have a lot of energy, okay? Especially you guys, you're very young, you're full of energy and full of potential. What you need more than anything is direction, because direction will make you achieve things in your life. If you don't have direction, you will make a mess of your life. The way I think about it is like a grenade and a bullet. A grenade goes off, it just makes a mess all over the place. Right? A bullet in the barrel of a rifle makes a huge distance. Okay? And if you want to achieve something in your life, you've got to be the bullet in the barrel, not the grenade. I know it's not a great example, but that's one example. And that comes from direction. And we need direction. We need spiritual guides more than anything to make our lives achieve its primary purpose, which is imitation, transformation in Christ. Okay? Now, that's essentially, because if we don't become Christ-like, Christ reveals man to man. The fullness of the human condition is in Christ. So we need to know how to be imitators of Christ, to be other saints, to be other Christs, Christ himself. That's essentially what we're called to. You can hear Paul talks about it. We're called to be saints. Christ talks about it. We're called to be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. I mean, it's a very high level. And that's why, if you think of it, that's why the church is under attack so much. Because the church is the only institution that calls us to the fullness of the human condition, which is a very high level. It calls us essentially to love with a capital L. Alright? That is the vocation of the human person. Complete self-donation. That's sanctity. And that's why saints are the most inspiring people you will ever read about, or even meet in your life, or even become. That's what we're called for. If you want to really affect the culture, become a saint. If you want to be happy, become a saint. There's no other way out. Because saint is essentially steeping yourself in love. And that's what we're all called for. Sorry, I get a bit passionate about these things. Yeah.
Now, on your life-size sculptures, how do you go about casting that much, I guess, metal into to make it the way it is? Like, it just seems.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're taking that angle, because something like this. That's a very good question. But some people have asked me, how do you carve those sculptures out of bronze? It must be really strong. But no, it is casting. It is casting. This is the process. So you got it 100% right. The way it works is that technically, if I'm to sculpt this hand in bronze, okay, this fist in bronze, what I do essentially is sculpt it in clay, make a rubber mold, front and back, plaster jacket, front and back. Rubber mold is to go into the detail, undercuts, and then the plaster jacket is to hold form. Then you open it up, take out the clay, clean it out, and then you paint wax on the inside of that. So it's about 5 mil, whatever, fractions of inches. It was tricky, because when I was in Ireland, when I was grown up in Ireland, we started with inches. When we joined Europe, we had to change to centimetres. Then I went to the States, I was back to inches, and now I'm back to centimetres. So I get So essentially, so you have the wax, and then you stick it together. So you have the same form, which was in clay, is now hollow wax. Does that make sense? And then you take that hollow wax and you invest it in ceramic shell. Okay? So ceramic, like the plates you eat from, or sometimes. And then with that ceramic shell, what you do is stick that into a furnace, and you melt out the wax. And while the ceramic shell is still hard, you stick it in a pit of sand and you pour molten bronze into it. And then once the bronze is cool, you smash off the ceramic shell, and then you weld the different parts together. There too. No. It just is about 2 months' work. But depending on the size of the sculpture. Yeah.
Do you have to do that like piece by piece, like the put together?
It depends on the foundry. Some foundries can do large pieces. I mean, the Greeks, they did full equestrian sculptures, like guys on horses. Actually, that reminds me of it. But yeah, they did these full sculptures and cast them in one flow, like one go. I mean, it's just incredible. Now, what you remind me there is a guy on a horse, because I mixed up, when I came to Italy first, I made a lot of mistakes with the language. I mixed up cavallo with cavallo, so it's like horse with cabbage. This foundry, I did a lot of work for, did a lot of commissions for this foundry in Florence, and they wanted to invite me out to lunch to thank me for their business. So it was kind of a formal occasion, and so they were asking, so tell us about Ireland. And I was like, well, what am I going to tell them about Ireland? So I said, well, we're famous for our racing horses. So he was hearing racing cattle. So, yeah, we're famous for our racing cattle. And he was like, the rest of it, like, being very formal and trying not to laugh, you know. Racing cattle is very good. And tell us more about your racing cattle. I said, well, you know, they're crossbred with Arab charging cabbages. Very interesting. So I said, tell us more about that. He was saying that, my wife has a garden in Chianti. I was wondering if you could, next time you're in Ireland, you could bring back some of the seed of these, I was hearing, racing horses. I was like, whoa, this guy's strange. What does your wife want seed for race horses for? I said, you want to put it in the, you know, put a hole in the ground and put the seed in the ground? I said, this guy's weird. I said, what do you want to do that for? I said, well, you know, to grow these, I was hearing horses. And then I was like, oh, no, I understand. So we had a good laugh about that after. Which you can get into some really silly situations. Some of them are quite crude, so I won't read. But maybe later on. Any more questions? You probably had enough. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming.